Hi, I'm Phil. I'm here with my co-host and producer Tami. This is the Homicide Canada podcast. This is episode 80, the episode on Brandy Cooney and Becky Hamber. Just a little off the top, or a little on the top, or I don't know. Anyways, we have a website associated with the podcast. So homicidecanada.com. You can check that out. We try to have like information about as many homicides in Canada as we can find. Social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, basically put in Homicide Canada and we should pop up. Okay, let's get to episode 80. This is like one of our episodes where we look at a particular murder. This one, an Ontario couple convicted in death of a 12-year-old boy and abuse of a younger brother. Yeah, it's a pretty sad story. We'll start out. A tragic child death case that raised serious questions about child welfare oversight and the treatment of vulnerable children has resulted in convictions on all charges against two Ontario women who were caring for the victims. The case began on December 21st, 2022, when emergency crews responded to a home in Burlington, Ontario, after receiving reports of a child in medical distress. First responders arrived to find a 12-year-old Indigenous boy dead inside the residence. He was found unresponsive, emaciated, and soaking wet on the floor of a locked bedroom in his prospective adoptive parents' home. Yeah, that sounds like something out of Hostel.
Yeah, it doesn't sound nice.
According to reports, the bed in that room was a cot, the type that a daycare would use. The boy had been living with Becky Hamber and Brandy Cooney, who were his prospective adoptive parents. I guess they were at that, would they say like they were foster parents at that time, and looking to adopt them, or?
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe they were foster parents, I'm not sure.
All yeah.
Right. But they were looking to adopt them.
Yes.
Okay. His younger brother was also living in the home, and I guess he was found alive, fortunately.
Yeah. So one thing I'd like to note, and none of the reports have said anything about this, but Brandy is actually Indigenous as well.
Really?
And I know this because I know Brandy, wow. And her mother is Indigenous and her dad is white. So Brandy was married to one of my friends before she was married to Becky.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. The investigation that followed was led by Halton Regional Police Child Abuse and Sexual Assault Unit. And over the next several months, investigators examined circumstances surrounding the child's death and the treatment of both boys while in the couple's care. And in early 2023, police laid a series of charges connected to the younger sibling, including assault-related offenses, unlawful confinement, criminal negligence, and failing to provide the necessaries of life. And more than a year later, investigators charged Hamber and Cooney with first-degree murder in connection with the death of the older child.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting in the sense that before the first-degree murder charges, obviously I'm sure like those other charges would, they would carry some punishment. But like in Canada, the first-degree murder charge is, life and no chance of parole before 25 years. So it's a lot stronger charge.
Yes.
So, and obviously, as you said, it seemed to take the police quite a lot of, I guess they had to do a good, take some time in this investigation of that.
Yeah.
To make sure. But, it did take them quite a while before they actually laid the first degree murder charge. So the case proceeded to a lengthy judge-alone trial, which is interesting because obviously in Canada you have a choice between a judge and a jury trial and that. So I would assume their lawyers gave them that recommendation. That heard from dozens of witnesses and reviewed hundreds of exhibits. Evidence came from medical experts, investigators, educators, text messages, video recordings, and testimony from the surviving younger brother. What emerged during the proceedings was a disturbing picture of life inside the home. Expert witnesses testified that the 12-year-old boy was severely malnourished and emaciated when he died. The court heard he weighed only 48 pounds, roughly the weight expected of a 6-year-old child. So he was 12.
Small. Yeah, that's not good.
Although a pathologist could not identify a single definitive medical cause of death, prosecutors argued years of abuse, neglect, and deprivation ultimately led to the boy's death. The judge agreed. So, that's... and obviously, like with the the judge agreeing is interesting too in that, because I said, yeah, they decided to go with the judge trial. So
Yeah, I wonder if they did that just because a jury might, like, maybe they thought they'd get a lesser punishment from a judge only.
you kind of wonder. So
the trial heard that both boys lived under extreme restrictions and controls. Evidence suggested they were frequently isolated in their rooms for long periods, sometimes as much as 18 hours a day, while being monitored through cameras installed throughout the home. That totally sounds like Hostel, the movie.
It does, yeah.
The younger brother testified that punishments, often referred to in household as consequences, could involve hours of physical, demanding exercises, including repeated trips up and down the stairs, burpees, jumping jacks, laps around the property, and other exhausting activities.
That's, it's funny. Well, not funny, obviously. It's tragic. But yeah, I've never really heard, like, it's almost like a high school football coach or something.
Yeah, or like an army instructor. Video evidence shown throughout the trial reportedly captured some of those punishments. In one recording, a child repeatedly climbed the stairs while wearing restrictive clothing and protective equipment secured with zip ties. Other evidence suggested that the children were often required to remain silent for extended periods and seek permission before speaking. The court also heard testimony about the use of restraints. According to the evidence presented, the younger child described being restrained with straps, zip ties, helmets, and restrictive clothing. He testified that sometimes he experienced pain and discomfort while restrained and felt unsafe when those methods were used.
So yeah, like in a sense, they're like almost basically, I don't know, torturing these kids for like.
It seems like it.
For an extended period of time. Yeah, and it's the fact like these weren't their own birth children in that. Like
no.
They I guess were fostering them or whatever.
Yeah, how did they pass that trial with the CAS?
Yeah, it's just amazing that it got to this to the child dying.
Yeah.
The trial also examined allegations surrounding the boys' diet and the methods used to discipline them. The younger brother testified that he was regularly required to drink water and milk from baby bottles fitted with nipples. He also told the court that he was often given pureed food as a form of punishment, particularly after what the adults described as behavioral outbursts. So, yeah, it's a lot of punishment. According to his testimony, he believed the practice was intended to infantilize him, with the message that children who act like babies would be treated like babies. So I guess there was sort of a method behind the madness. Jurors also heard recorded audio evidence in which one of the accused could be heard telling the child that she did not care if he was fed pureed food until adulthood, adding that if he did not want baby food, he should stop behaving like a baby. Defense lawyers argued that the use of baby bottles and pureed meals was connected to trauma-informed parenting techniques and had been implemented to help the children cope with difficulties stemming from their early childhood experiences. Okay. However, the therapist referenced by the defense later testified that while she had worked with the family, she never advised that the boys be treated like toddlers on a long-term basis, nor did she recommend the continued use of those methods as a behavioral management strategy. So, I don't know, maybe she said to do that maybe once or twice or something like that. But then,
maybe when they first got the boys.
And then, I guess they just continued to do them. Like, that's pretty wild that they basically just got soft food for extended periods in that. So,
and the younger brother told investigators he watched his older sibling become progressively thinner over time, describing how his brother's physical condition visibly deteriorated. Well, no kidding. Like, these are growing kids and they're eating baby food.
Yeah, like it makes you wonder, like they were given like obviously probably not enough food.
Yeah.
Or just pureed food, like for a baby.
Yeah.
And then they seemed to be like forced to do a lot of exercising in that.
Yeah.
So maybe like they were, like they probably were, because they said that the child that died was, hardly weighed anything. So like were they just perpetually in like a calorie deficit in that? Like every day
seems like
they got a small amount of food and then they were made to do all these exercises in that. Like obviously a child shouldn't be in a growing calorie deficit.
No.
It's like only an adult basically that wants to lose weight. So.
And court records showed that the older child was often singled out for harsher treatments. The younger brother described him as the primary target within the household. The judge's written ruling later stated that evidence overwhelmingly supported the younger brother's account of the events. The trial also revealed that concerns about the other child's declining health had been raised before his death. Medical professionals had documented concerns regarding his weight and his condition. And the court heard that the child welfare authorities had previous involvement with the family, but those interventions ultimately failed to prevent the tragedy.
So obviously Brandy and Becky, obviously their actions were reprehensible and led to this, but it seems like the medical and child welfare system, there was opportunities here to kind of prevent this end result that didn't happen. So during the trial, jurors also heard testimony from a former co-worker of Brandy Cooney, who described alleged statements Cooney made about why she continued caring for the boys. Leanne Maloney, who worked alongside Cooney at a donut shop, told the court she had grown increasingly concerned after hearing Cooney repeatedly complain about the children.
Yeah, and funny enough, she worked at Sunshine Donut Shop, that happy place in Burlington.
Oh, wow. Okay. According to her testimony, Maloney eventually suggested that Cooney return the boys to the Children's Aid Society if she was struggling to care for them, so that would indicate it was fostering.
Yeah.
Maloney testified that Cooney responded by saying that she could not give them back because they were her primary source of income. So I guess one thing is obviously Burlington, Ontario, if you're not familiar with it, if you're somewhere else in Canada, not Ontario, it's a pretty expensive suburban city.
Yeah.
And I guess, if you told me, somebody said, oh, I work in a donut shop and I live in Burlington, I'd be like, well, how are you making that work?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
And they had a house too.
Yeah, and they had a house, and that'd be very expensive. So yeah. So it seems like, unfortunately, like her motive in some ways was not because they wanted to care for these children, but more that they wanted the money for these children. So she also told the court, this is Maloney, that when she tried to offer basic parenting advice and strategies based on her own experience, Cooney appeared uninterested and unwilling to consider any outside suggestions for helping the children. According to Maloney, Cooney also made comments suggesting that support services would not be available to the boys because of their Indigenous background, stating that no one would help them and that there were no resources available for them. The claim was later challenged during the trial, with multiple educators, support staff, and therapists testifying that they had in fact attempted to provide assistance and interventions. Under cross-examination, Cooney's defense lawyer suggested that Maloney may have simply been describing a frustrated caregiver overwhelmed by difficult circumstances. Maloney acknowledged that she could hear frustration in Cooney's voice and did not know what occurred behind closed doors, but she stood by her testimony regarding the comment about income, because I assume that's fairly damning.
Yeah, for sure. Investigators also presented extensive digital evidence they said pointed to attempts to erase records in the days following the child's death. According to testimony on Christmas Day 2022, just 4 days after the 12-year-old boy died, large volumes of text messages were deleted from the women's electronic devices. Before carrying out the deletions, evidence showed that they had used an iPad to search for instructions on how to remove photos and erase text messages from phones.
Yeah, that's not good.
No. Forensic analysis also showed courts that similar searches were conducted in relation to home surveillance systems used in the residence.
It's interesting, one thing, even beyond this case now, it's amazing now how many, when we hear about court trials and that in Canada, and I saw other countries too, just how many times now that, police get evidence of their search.
Yeah, or ChatGPT.
Yeah, how do I kill this person?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I guess if you're going to kill someone, you're probably not that smart to begin with. The property had also been equipped with Wise security cameras, and investigators found queries on devices about how to delete the footage from the system. The camera feed from the boy's room reportedly stopped abruptly the night he died, which experts said was consistent with the intentional disabling and deletion. Further evidence suggested efforts were made to remove physical traces from the home as well. Testimony indicated that the internet searches included phrases such as how to clean up a crime scene. In the weeks that followed Before police executed the search warrant, the basement bedroom was professionally cleaned, repainted, and surveillance cameras were removed. That doesn't sound fishy at all.
Yeah.
And despite these efforts, investigators were able to recover a significant amount of deleted data. Material, the Crown said, included internet searches made shortly before the boy's death, referencing distressing terms, as well as extensive text messages between the accused. The recovered data included internet searches from 2 days before the death, including "I hate my child," "hate my adoptive child," and "how to define homicide."
Yeah, that's fairly damning.
Yes. And hundreds of recovered of daily texts where Hamber and Cooney refer to the boys as "it," "loser," and "F-face," while plotting ways to restrain them. Prosecutors argued that the recovered evidence helped establish both the conditions inside the home and the efforts taken afterwards to conceal what had occurred.
Yeah, so, they obviously, it definitely seems like in this trial and that, like the fact, like these searches really, did them in and that, so.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. Brandy Cooney's father, Ed Cooney, lived with a couple in their Burlington home. He played a significant role in the daily lives of the children and was heavily featured in the trial evidence. Ed Cooney lived and slept in the basement while Becky Hamber and Brandy Cooney lived upstairs with the two boys. The prosecution presented text messages showing that the women actively used the father to enforce punishments and manage the children. In text, Cooney's referred to her father as Officer Cooney and texted him instructions to lock the boys in or let them out. According to reports, recovered text messages showed Ed Cooney was actively involved in restraining the boys. In one message, he asked the woman, "Where are the holes so I can zip tie in his suit?" And then his zipper on the tent, "I know where that is." In another, he texted Cooney to ask if he should let the boy out, writing, quote, "Sure, zip ties off, correct, ? Unquote. Text from November 2022, 1 month before the 12-year-old died, revealed Ed Cooney texted the woman to alert them that the older boy was shivering, quote, "drunk," and falling over. The women dismissed it as a fake fall for sympathy.
Yeah.
So that's fairly crazy.
Yeah.
On another occasion, Ed messaged Hamber to report blood or vomit on the boy's head, to which Hamber replied she did not care. Okay.
That's cold.
Yeah. Contrast in living conditions. Court evidence highlighted the harsh contrast between the father's living conditions and the deceased boy's conditions in the same basement. While the 12-year-old was forced to sleep on a bare daycare cot with no blankets or pillows in a freezing room, Ed Cooney had a fireplace in his basement bedroom. Ed Cooney suffered from declining health due to Parkinson's disease. While his actions and texts formed a core part of the judge's final murder conviction against Hamber and Cooney, his health ultimately prevented him from testifying during the trial. So, yeah, it's interesting the fact that he didn't testify.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, would he have testified for them or against them? Or
I don't know.
I guess he could have been made a hostile witness or something. So, and it's interesting too. Obviously he was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he faced no charges.
Participating too.
Yeah. The only thing I can wonder is if he already had Parkinson's disease, then maybe, I don't know, maybe he wasn't a priority in that and charging someone else in that. But
maybe.
But I guess ultimately either as well. He wasn't one of the parents, I suppose. So.
No, but he still zip tied the kid in.
That's true.
His clothes in his tent.
Yeah.
After months of testimony, the Ontario Superior Court of Justice Clayton Conlon delivered his verdict on May 5th, 2026. In a courtroom in Milton, the judge found Becky Hamber and Brandy Cooney guilty of all charges related to the death of the 12-year-old boy and the abuse of his younger brother. Although his oral ruling lasts only a few minutes, his written decision spanned approximately 300 pages. In that decision, Conlon concluded that evidence demonstrated sustained pattern of abuse, confinement, neglect, and deprivation. He found the couple guilty of first-degree murder and determined that their actions directly contributed to the older child's death. The judge also found both women guilty of unlawfully confining the younger brother, assaulting him, and failing to provide the necessities of life. Conlon wrote that he found the younger brother's testimony credible and reliable. By constraint, he rejected the significant portions of the accused women's evidence, stating that many aspects of their testimony were inconsistent with the overwhelming evidence presented during the trial.
According to the decision, the court found no credible evidence that an underlying medical condition explained the older child's deteriorating health. I think that's important because, like, obviously, you know, with first-degree murder, that's charging that, and, you know, if there was something there, then that could be a possibility. Instead, the ruling concluded that severe malnutrition and neglect were central factors in his death. Observers in the courtroom reacted emotionally as the verdicts were delivered. Following the ruling, Hamber and Cooney briefly spoke with their lawyers before being taken into custody. Outside court, Crown prosecutors described the case as exceptionally tragic and expressed hope that the verdict would provide some measure of accountability for the victims, their family members, and those who cared about them. Defense lawyers indicated they were disappointed by portions of the ruling and said they would review possible avenues for appeal. Justice Conlon stated that sentencing would occur at a later date. I suppose that you still have to sentence them, although admittedly, when you get like all the charges will be concurrent, and you know, if you get life or first-degree murder, then that's life without parole for 25 years minimum. While the convictions mark a significant milestone in the case, the tragedy continues to raise broader questions about child protection systems, accountability, and how warning signs can be missed when vulnerable children are at risk. As sentencing proceedings move forward, many will continue to seek answers about how such a devastating situation was allowed to unfold and what can be done to prevent similar tragedies in the future. I think, like, definitely the fact that they, it was a first-degree murder conviction. You know, I'd say, like, you know, obviously there wasn't, like, one, like, single blow or anything like that did it. But, like, you know, at the end of the day, if you lock someone in a cave and don't feed them and that, then I think and they end up dying because they starve to death, then that's still first-degree murder in that. So, and it makes me wonder, too, like, just getting a bit more technical in that, like this case did go to trial. I wonder if maybe the defense lawyers talk to the Crown and maybe try to get it pled down to, like, manslaughter or something, because obviously manslaughter would have had, like, a lot less, like, you end up serving way less time.
Yeah, like they could be out by now.
Yeah, but I guess maybe the Crown thought that they could get a conviction for first-degree murder in that. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, so you knew Brandy then?
Yeah, so Brandy was married to one of my friends for probably 5 years.
And I guess, like, is this totally surprising, or?
She was always kind of, like, tough.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but I always thought it was kind of a front. I don't know, but maybe she used this toughness to...
So kind of like a tough love thing taken to an extreme.
Yeah, like a little too much. Like, clearly, if the kid only weighs 48 pounds or whatever... That's not good. Like,
yeah, as a 12-year-old, like, that's that's fairly crazy. So, it's I don't think we've ever seen, like, a case quite like this before. So
no, and it's also weird when you know the person. Yeah,
and I guess like, it's kind of also disturbing that, you know, and I'm sure that was part of the reason for the judge's conviction is the fact that, you know, they admitted to, like, another witness that you know, they were kind of looking after these kids basically for the income.
Yeah. It's sad.
So, yeah, it's pretty sad. And it's, like, also sad that it seems pretty clear that, you know, these, like, the kids were never not, like, people saw them, like, medical people and child services, you know, must have occasionally seen these kids and that. And there seemed like there was, like, definitely an opportunity to intervene before, like, the child died of that. Because, like, this clearly this death, it just didn't happen overnight. It took, like, time, and it's just really sad. So I am glad that that it did result in a first-degree murder charge, because, like, so often in Canada, because we try to cover all the homicides we can and that, and, like, you know, if you would ask me before, like, I could see that maybe they only got charged with manslaughter or something like that.
That's what I would think, but I don't know. Maybe because it went on for so long and they saw what they were doing.
Yeah. And because, yeah, exactly.
effects of it.
And like, yeah, I guess the police, it took them like a year to charge them, but I guess they, as we were saying throughout earlier in the podcast, like I think one damning thing for them definitely was like they had so much texting and Google search evidence of that, I don't think the judge could overlook that.
No,
So,
and another crazy thing, when I knew Brandy, she was a daycare educator.
really?
Yeah, like it blew my mind when it was like, what? Like, seriously?
So yeah, she would have had a lot of experience with.
She would have been around little kids all the time for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you wonder why she ended up. I don't. Was she the one that worked for the donut shop, or was she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think her wife was also some sort of educator, though I'm not sure.
Wow. Okay.
What kind.
Yeah. So I don't know. This has been a pretty crazy case.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll continue following developments in the case and provide updates as they become available. Yeah, we use the sources, the Toronto Star and CBC. Yeah. So as I said at the top, like, yeah, you can check out our website at homicidecanada.com. Yeah, we try to have like a post for every homicide, and also we kind of organize in cities and provinces and that. So if you want to like see like how many murders there are in your city, then go check that out. And we're on social media. Yeah. So until next time.